Welcome back to Meet in the Lobby. This is the podcast where hospitality meets innovation.
I'm Dorien Murphy.
And I'm Melissa McCormack. Dorien, I have to ask you, we're going to start this off on a positive note today. What is a small, random thing that has brought you great joy recently?
Hold on quickly, Melissa. Did you get my NPR intro? Did you hear how I did that?
I did.
Dorien Murphy.
It was impressive. It was smooth. Loved it.
Okay.
I expect it every podcast moving forward now.
Okay, maybe we might do that. One random thing that's brought me joy. Okay, so I have a 10-month-old, and now he's starting to crawl around, and really, he's actually starting to try to walk. I'd say one thing that's brought me a lot of joy lately is giving him a bath. It's the one time where I don't have to really think about much except for keeping this little human from drowning. So I'd say that's the one thing that's brought me some joy.
That's good. Yeah, we need balance, right? Work-life balance and getting to spend that time with your child and kind of drown out, no pun intended, all of the background noise and really focus on the special moment you have with your child. I love it.
It's all about the special moments because they grow so fast. So
they do. I say they do like I have a child, but I've seen my friends' children grow so fast.
That works. That's enough.
Yeah, exactly. Mine is not as heartwarming, I don't think, but still brought me a lot of joy. Mine's a little bit more nostalgic. As you know, in the Northeast, it's been incredibly cold lately, and things are just starting to come back to life. And for the first time yesterday, I heard the ice cream truck. And I know, I see the look on your face, Dorien. And it was one of those things where I ran to the window like a child, and I saw a couple kids running after the truck with a couple dollars in their hands. And oh my God, it really did. It just brought me so much joy. So
you know what? That is awesome. And I don't hear the ice cream truck in my neighborhood. I can't recall the last time I've actually heard an ice cream truck. That's amazing. Hopefully a couple dollars is enough nowadays.
Fair point. Well, that is a good segue into this episode today, because that's what comes down to procurement, right? Today, we're really going to be digging into a side of hospitality that touches everything from the guest experience to profit margins. We know how important that is,
Sure.
to talent, and that's procurement.
We're not just talking about procurement in one market. We're talking about what it looks like at a global scale as hospitality organizations expand into new regions, navigate complexity, and adapt to evolving expectations.
It's true. Yeah, we're talking global today. And to help us unpack all of that, we are so thrilled to welcome Molly Preston. She is the Senior Vice President of Procurement at Pyramid Global Hospitality. So, Molly, welcome to the podcast. And I want to start it off with asking you the question that Dorien and I answered. So, what is a small, random thing that brought you so much joy recently?
Well, thank you, Melissa and Dorien. I'm thrilled to be on this podcast. I absolutely love your episodes. One thing that has brought me joy, I also have little ones, and my youngest son just turned 1, in fact. And just last night, he took his first steps.
Oh my God.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yes, it was so exciting. We were thrilled.
That is amazing. So how long from first steps until the child starts running keeps you on your toes?
Yeah, my kids almost immediately. It's I have all boys, so they're our home is one large parkour course, essentially. So they start running pretty quick and climbing and jumping, and luckily no emergency room visits or broken bones yet. So
I love it. I love it.
Well, Molly, to kick off our discussion on procurement, take us back to the beginning. How did you first find your way into hospitality, and what drew you to build a career in this industry?
Yeah, thank you. I actually came into hospitality through operations. I got my first job ever via my roommate at a food court at Texas A&M University. It was at the MSC Center, the Memorial Student Center, and the food court was called Hullabaloo. And it's the little part I worked in was a pizzeria. So I made pizzas for about 4 years, my college career. And worked a little stint in as a sandwich artist in another shop there. And started as a student worker, making like $6 an hour, which was so much for me at the time. And I became a student manager by the time I ended, which was really thrilling for me. I got to learn how to take inventory, order product. It was a fun time. But from there, after I graduated, I needed to stay local. And so I looked for jobs around the college town. And I found one at a private student dormitory called the Callaway House, and joined them as assistant dining director. And quickly, within about 6 months, I became the dining director. So this private student dormitory operated just like a hotel. We had a full engineering team, a housekeeping team, and full service dining open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Yeah. We served, 1,100 meals a day. So this was a big lift when I was young. I was 20 out of college, and but knew food and beverage from the university days, and so quickly grew within it. But early on, the thing that really hooked me with hospitality was the energy of hospitality and the people. No 2 days are the same. And I find that even true now that I'm at corporate within hospitality. So there's very few industries that I find where leadership, service, creativity, and the business all collide every single day. And I just find it thrilling.
So my first follow-up question, can you still make a mean pizza?
Oh, girl, yes.
Yes, I love it.
But
you brought up something that's so important, and Dorien and I have talked about it before, because we came from operations as well. And I mean, it's in our blood, right? Even though we're on the corporate side now, we want to help operations as much as we can. Every day something's new, and it really does just run through our blood.
It does. And my kids are so impressed when I make pizza. So
I love it.
Love it.
Next time I'm in your area, I'm going to try one of your pizzas.
There we go. Let's do
it. So, looking at Pyramid, right? Pyramid's footprint has really grown a lot, right? And they grew so much in the US, and now it's beyond the US, right? They've got expansion into Europe, UK. What has that experience been for you? I'm really curious about your perspective, because you're orchestrating so much important work behind the scenes that impacts the whole guest experience.
Yeah, it's exciting for me. I love new challenges. It's this little bug I have. I don't like to stay still. So it's been really exciting for me that our organization continues to grow and expand. And now with the global footprint, it's even more thrilling. When I think about growth and scale, it can be really powerful, but only when it's intentional. And so when we look to grow and standardize, we like to think in terms of guardrails, but not handcuffs, right?
Oh, I like that.
Aligning with partners that help us to, and systems that help us to have consistency through our contracts, compliance, our procure to pay system. Risk is a huge component, financial discipline, right? While still individually being able to honor what the properties need at their unique level. So the culture, the guest touch points, the design, the storytelling. That's really where I think the real work is in being able to successfully grow globally. It's being flexible intentionally.
I'm sure your properties really do appreciate that approach because, each property has its own sense of place and its own kind of structure within the community. And the one thing that, that Melissa and I hear when we're out and about is not wanting to lose that sense of place and, and that regionality. But at the end of the day, your job, like you said, is to protect against risk and to create this seamless product that the guests experience from property to property that's, very pyramid. It doesn't change. But I have a question for you because, we're talking about, internationally when stepping into new countries or new regions, what are some of the biggest challenges you've encountered? And what have you found really makes a difference in getting these properties set up successfully?
Yeah, it's a great question. The first thing we really want to focus on is systems and processes that work at the local level when we transition abroad. And so our approach starts with listening and learning. Guests expect a certain level of service, and so do our counterparts at corporate and the property level. Our operating teams want to be able to continue seamlessly their operations without huge ups and downs, right? So that's really our first step that I found to lead into successful transitions is learning, understanding what the pitfalls might be so we can overcome them when we get started, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I love that you said listening and learning, right? It's so important not to just come in and change things, right? Learn best practices, learn what's happening. And especially when you're growing into new geographies, I'm a big foodie, right? And so
Yeah.
Culinary is a differentiator, right? Culinary really is a differentiator. So from a culinary perspective, how do you approach or who do you approach when you're looking at menu innovation, especially when you're looking across different regions? Where do you look for the inspiration? And also, Pyramid's got a lot of brands under its umbrella, right? So how do you balance that brand consistency while still being relevant locally?
Absolutely. I would say that our guests expect globally, right? They expect menus that reflect that regional identity, that local seasonality, the culinary heritage in which they find themselves traveling or visiting, or maybe it's their day-to-day lives, right?
Right.
And so our role in Pyramid and namely procurement isn't to override that. It's really to enable it responsibly. So we focus on aligning the how and not the what. So aligning with partners who tap into that regional identity, the products with seasonality, local sourcing, supplier transparency, right? Who have ethical sourcing standards, partners that abide by food safety standards. Sustainability has become even more and more important. So we look at partners locally who have sustainability or meet our sustainability expectations and that have some commercial discipline, right? It's we want to prepare amazing dishes, and we want the food to also be safe.
Yes, absolutely.
Safe. So that's really how we help provide the space for our chefs and operators to create local relevant experiences throughout the world. And we at procurement, we respect those cultural and operational structures so that you get the menus that really feel authentic and scalable.
It almost reminds me of like a sandbox. You provide the framework, and then your chefs and F&B leadership, they can just play in the sand and do their thing, but
That's
that they're
right.
not over near the swings, where someone can kick them off, or they're not on the monkey bars where they can fall off. And I guess I'm just
Yeah, I
tying back
love
to the
that.
kid thing.
I was visiting Australia one time, Perth, and they had on the beach these sand castle competitions. And I was astounded, Dorien, by the art and structures that were created from sand. So I love that. I love that analogy, because wonders can be created with sand inside of the sandbox. So
For sure, for sure. It's all about the framework. It's all about the framework. We're in the world of AI now, right? Where tech is starting to creep in and dominate our decision making, and how we set up frameworks, how we interact within that box. So I'd ask you, how has technology changed how you understand your operations and how you identify opportunities and drive efficiency?
yeah. Well, I've always been such a big data nerd. Give me the data behind, tables and sheets, and I'm set. I love it. Over the last 5 years, to dig deep within tech and development of tech to make our operators' lives easier. We're excited, so excited about where tech is taking us. We've developed innovative dashboards, like using the technology that's available, and our operators to guide us to provide real-time data, and that tells a story. So you can receive all your major metrics from the night before and be able to take real-time action the next morning on what we need to do to meet our budget and owner expectations. So from a global pyramid perspective, we're really excited and diving in, feet first, head first, to that world. Yeah. Some of the things that I think technology has also helped us with is identifying where compliance from a procurement perspective is drifting before it becomes a problem. So we can take, as real time as we can get actions, helping us guide what decisions protect margins without eroding the guest experience. And I talked about risk earlier. Risk is huge for pyramid. So identifying how we can spot risk and opportunities early in our relationships or contracts or processes that impact a property, but really globally.
Absolutely. And what I love about what you're saying is how Pyramid is using innovation and technology to be proactive
That's
and
right. Yeah.
and to really enhance the guest experience without the guest even knowing everything that's going on behind the scenes to impact the operation and also help your margins. Now, there's the next step to technology, which is AI, right? And with AI entering procurement and supply chain conversations, how do you see that taking shape today? Because I know in hospitality, we want to make sure we are innovative and we're incorporating AI where we can. but we also want to keep that human touch, right? That's what makes hospitality hospitality. So I'm curious from your perspective, how you're seeing AI take shape on the procurement and supply chain side today.
Yeah, I love that question. And just as excited as I am about data and tech, I am about AI. And I've actually had some industry colleagues, speak a little concerningly about the future of AI and what it means for our jobs in procurement. I am not concerned, Melissa, because I'm excited. I'm
I love
too
it.
excited to be concerned. I'm excited about where it's headed and what it will enable us to now have more time to do, that it's taking away tasks that have bogged us down. So that things like creating clarity, speed, alignment, really giving our operators and leaders the confidence to act with better information, more timely information, and not be bogged down with noise, right? So in procurement, I'm excited about AI models that will help us with buying decisions in near real time. Supplier performance that becomes more visible and enforceable. Sustainability and risk scoring that will now matter just as much as price when we're evaluating partners and contracts. I'm also really excited about the development of AI in an autonomous way with reordering, maintenance scheduling, inventory balancing, energy management. Like, there's so many tools out there that have begun the process of development, and I'm so excited to dig deep into these areas and see where they lead us.
When you're talking about all of these different metrics, and I'm going to use the word again, these different frameworks that really help hotel operators operate. I read an article from Forbes, and in my mind, to remember it, I classified it as 20 and 30, right? Where Forbes estimated that when there's rogue spend or folks playing outside of the sandbox, you can spend up to 20% more on goods that you're bringing in anyway, right?
Yeah.
And you can miss your revenue targets by as much as 30%. So when I hear you talking about how AI models can work together to help decision makers, hotel buyers, corporate buyers make decisions that all line up with the corporate strategy, it just makes so much sense to me, because there's so much money at stake right now, especially during a time where,
Absolutely.
inflation is still high and there are other geopolitical factors that are driving up costs. Having that discipline is just so important right now.
Yeah, listen, hospitality is facing some serious headwinds, right? Geopolitically, economically, it's a challenging time for not just our industry, but all industry. Finding ways where we can leverage tools and resources that allow us to focus on the things that matter most to our guests, putting the heads in the beds by creating enticing experiences, using our creativity and tapping into that in different ways that really enhance that guest experience and allow us to not be so much behind a desk or in front of a computer or on our phone, and doing what matters most to our guests that help them come back and bring more groups into the properties.
Well, Molly, thank you so much for joining us for our podcast today. I mean, it's really been so awesome hearing about how you set the sandbox up and set the kiddos up for success. So again, thank you so much for joining us.
I really appreciate being part and included, Melissa and Dorien. This has been amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely. We've loved having you. And we're actually going to be continuing this conversation in our next episode. We'll be focusing on leadership, talent, and the future of global procurement.
So with that being said, we'll see you next time on Meet in the Lobby.
Thanks for meeting with us today. Interested in becoming a member of Avendra's procurement services? Scan the QR code on the screen or visit us at www.avendra.com to inquire. To learn more about Avendra International and the latest hospitality news and trends, follow us on LinkedIn at Avendra International. Meet in the Lobby is a production from Avendra International. Special thanks to our executive producers, Dorien Murphy, Melissa McCormack, Corey Moriarty, Eleanor Waddell, and Lindsay Garbacik, and our production partners, Market Scale. To learn more, click the link in the description.